Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sah Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. So I just spoke about Ram Janmabhoomi to everybody. Please take time in your homes, especially on Monday, to celebrate in a special way, because it's a very big moment for the whole of Bharat. You can just imagine 500 years we're waiting for this. And so many people are coming together. So many people from all various sectors, from all places, all countries are coming together. So it's a beautiful thing to see, such unity. And we have a privilege to be part of this, and so do our children, so they should see it. The live telecast, I think, is going to be at 1 a.m. our time, but they'll replay it on Doordarshan on YouTube. Somebody told me they're also going to play something on Times Square, but I don't know if they're really good. Yeah? They're going to do it at 1 a.m.?
No, I think on Sunday it's happening 4 to 6, if I'm not mistaken. There's going to be some telecast, something's going to happen there.
Okay.
But there's a huge screen there that's going to happen, like this Ram Janma. I thought so. Maybe they'll also do it in the night.
Yeah.
But like there's like this massive screen, which is what they shared, like one of the big screens, not the tiny ones. One of the big screens is going to have full telecast of the.
Very nice. Very beautiful.
There were people inviting to go there actually, but
Okay.
1 o'clock I think would be too late to go there. There's something actually happening on 4 to 6 on Sunday, but I'm not 100% sure that
on Times Square.
Yeah, something's happening there.
Okay. So maybe we can just share with each other as soon as we have all the news of Ram Janmabhoomi, but let's take time to watch it also once it comes out. And watch it with your kids, so they can see what this is. They should see. And I told somebody also, maybe in December we can all go to Ayodhya. It'll be much more settled. Now they're telling us not to come, so we should not. So we shouldn't come, because it's so busy. You can just imagine a small city is now gearing up for thousands of people to come.
65 lakhs.
Yeah.
In the first one.
And they're expecting after that 100,000 people every day. So you can just imagine how much it's turnaround. Okay, so we're going to come back to Manah Shodhanam. So I know 2 weeks ago you all had a class, yes? How did that go? So, we haven't met. It's been a new year, so let's review a little bit and then we'll go into it slowly. We're studying this text, Manah Shodhanam. And honestly, the best way to purify is to have an Ishta Devata, is to have a form of God or Goddess that we revere. That's the best way to purify. Because when we keep thinking about that form of God, of Goddess, we cannot but be pure. We cannot but be pure. Because of all their divine qualities, their strength, their valor, their wisdom. I had MLK weekend, I had gone to DC. There was a camp with the youth on Devi, Durga Lakshmi Saraswati. So that whole week, I couldn't think about anything else but Devi. So just nothing else. I couldn't think of anything else. You're sleeping, you're thinking of Devi. Even the dreams, you're eating, you're stalking, everything is Devi, Devi, Devi. And there's just nothing else that can enter the mind. Now that we're doing Ram Janmabhoomi, there's also absolutely nothing else that can enter the mind except the name of Ram. So the best way to purify, we are going through each quality, each vice, but is to have that form that's dearest to our hearts and just keep thinking that. Keep saying that. Keep praying to that form. Till that form reveals itself to us that I am that same truth that's within you. I am that same pure consciousness. This, if we have this, this is Manah Shodhanam. This book is absolutely not required. But sometimes we live in these times wherein it's very difficult for people to relate to a form. It's very difficult for people to see a form, to relate to a form, to chant the name. It's very difficult. So we need all of these other tactics. And we start to analyze the mind and everything like that, which is also good. But it's a harder route. The easiest route is to get lost in the form till it reveals its formless nature. That is the easiest route. The other route is this. Why is this purity so much required? To realize that we are of the nature of pure consciousness, pure bliss, the mind needs to be pure. Otherwise we will never realize it. If the mind is stuck in likes and dislikes and disturbances and worries and all of it, we will never turn inward, because the mind is so extroverted that we will never turn inward. And hence, that purity of mind is required to turn inward. In the Ramayana, Swami Chinmayanandaji, Gurudev, gives a very profound meaning to the inner significance of Ramayana. At one level, it's a historic epic, itihasa, it happened. At another level, it's a devotional epic, especially when we look from the lens of Tulsi Das Ji. But it's a very spiritual epic when we look through Adhyatma Ramayan by Vedavyas Ji. And what he says is, actually, we are all Sita. At the deeper level, we are all like Sita Devi. And Sita Devi is this mind that is wedded to the Atman, which is Ram. And because the mind is wedded to the Atman, it is always very peaceful, very peaceful. So as long as Sita Devi as the mind is wedded with Rama, very peaceful. But the minute that the mind, saw something, like Sita Devi saw the deer, right? So this is the inner significance of us. The minute that we become extroverted and we see something and our eyes leave the divine, that's when we get taken away by sense objects and sense pleasures. And that is symbolized by Ravana. Ravana is a symbol of our 10 heads, means the 10 sense organs. Sense of sight, hearing, smell, taste, touch. 5 organs of knowledge. Then 5 organs of action. Grasping, locomotion, excretion, reproduction, speech. Ravana is Dashamukha. Dashamukha means 10 heads. So it represents these 10 sense organs when they're completely out of control. See, when Sita Devi was with Sri Rama under Dasharatha. Dasharatha is also Das, right? So 10 Ratha means his 10 sense organs are under control. So when the mind is with Atman, with the self, Dasharatha, are all of our sense organs, everything is under control. It doesn't go out. But when the mind gets extroverted, it goes to Dashamukha, it goes to Ravana. And all the 10 sense organs, they get totally out of control. And when they get totally out of control, we find ourselves in a Lanka, in a place of just material indulgence. This was what Ravana was doing. And when we find ourselves in such a place, how do we get out? How do we get wedded back to our true self? Here the glory of Sita Devi comes out, because no matter how much Ravana tempted her and taunted her, she did not yield. Her eyes, her heart was always focused on Sri Rama. And because her eyes, her mind, everything was focused on Sri Rama takes her back. Sri Rama takes her back because she longs for that. And when she's taken back by Sri Rama, the mind again is united with the Atman. So this is the spiritual significance of Ramayana. There's a deeper story. So there's a historical tone to it. There's a devotional tone. There's also a very spiritual tone. So this mind, the purity of mind, is needed to turn within. And we have been discussing verse number 11 for quite some time, because this verse number 11 has these impurities of our minds. What are the impurities we have been discussing? Raga Dvesha, likes and dislikes. Kama, desires. Krodha, anger. Lobha, greed. And Ahankara. Ahankara means pride. Swartha, selfishness. Vividhaha, manaso malaha. These are the different impurities of the mind. We have seen 4 of them in our classes, correct? We've seen likes, and you all remember? Okay, so I'll just summarize very briefly the 4 we have seen. Then we will come into pride and we'll come into selfishness today. Likes and dislikes are these 2 forces that keep taking us outward. Whenever we have likes and dislikes, we are driven by our own personal selfishness. This ties in with selfishness also. And we refuse to see what is for the greater good. So like, let us say this is the goal that we have to reach. If I have so many likes and dislikes, my mind will be away from the goal. I don't like to do that. I don't want to do that. Let us say we're trying to achieve a goal of economic unity, let us say, whereby everybody has to now use less water, use less resources. Let us say we are in this state where we have to use less resources, use less water, use less of this, less of that, to come to a very stabilized position. But I don't want to do that. I don't feel like doing that. Or why are they asking for all of these things? When we have our own likes, dislikes, our own selfish agendas, we will lose sight of the bigger vision. And we will only give importance to what we want to do, what we don't want to do. And it makes our ego crop up even more. Likes and dislikes. When we have desires, specifically these desires to fulfill ourselves. Now see, whenever we have a desire, what is that an expression of? It's an expression of saying that I need this to complete me, correct? So I need a family because I will feel complete. I need a career. I will feel complete. I need to engage in this kind of work because it will complete me, right? I need to go to this place, it will complete me. But every time we have these desires, what do we find? They don't complete us. Because why? We're desiring something else again. Correct? Anybody here is complete? No. We don't have the feeling of fullness, of completeness. This desire is that false notion that this will complete me. It will not complete us. The world is not meant to complete us. The world is just meant to purify us. So rather than looking at something or someone or an experience to complete us, look at it as it's going to purify me. Maybe I can't get rid of all of my desires right now, but if I say, look, I want this, I know it's not going to complete me. Please start with that. I want this, I know it's not going to complete me. So you'll save yourself all the disappointment and drama. Huh? It's not going to complete me, but it will help me purify. It will help me evolve. It will help me grow. Therefore, I want it. And when we engage with our desires to purify, what happens is we don't get so bogged down by them. Whether we get it or not, okay. Whether it works out or not, okay. Because I know this will not complete me. It will just help me on the path. It will help me purify. So I would like this. If I get it, okay. If not, okay. So this is the way to engage with desires. To know that I want this, and it will help me purify. Then we come to anger. Sometimes when we don't get what we want, we become very angry. Become very, very angry. And so we had a whole session on how to actually deal with this anger. How to deal with this anger. The most important thing to do in anger is, the minute that anger is cropping up, stop, pause, keep quiet, don't say anything. Because if we can hold ourselves for that moment, we will save a lot of regrets. Because it is in that heat of anger, that's when we explode, and when we say things we don't mean, and we hurt people, and we do things that we don't want to do. This is in the moment of anger. We can't help it. We're uncontrolled. So if before I'm getting angry, if I see that anger crop up, stop. Just stop. Pause. Go for a walk. Take a shower. Take a breather. Listen to some good music. Just pause. And postpone that anger. Say, anger, give me 20 more minutes. Then I'll take you back. Give me 30 more minutes, then I'll take you back. And when we postpone and when we pause and we come back to that anger, we will realize that we're not as angry anymore. Mind has calmed down. So pause. Then we also saw greed. Greed comes because we got what we want. And so now we want more, and we want to hoard, we want to keep, we want to store, we want all of that because we feel like we should be surrounded by plentiful abundance. That's greed. To combat greed is charity. Charity. Give it away. When we have too many things and we just hoard and keep for ourselves, all of our time, attention, our lives go in those things only. How much time it takes to preserve all of the things that we've acquired. And we go out and we buy all these little things whenever we go, I went here and all I got was this lousy t-shirt. We don't do all of those things. And these little figurines we get. But they're all acquiring dust. Then every week we have to clean it because it's acquiring dust. And so many clothes we have, then again it's acquiring dust also. Nobody's using them. So many shoes, so many things, when it could be used for other people, and other people could use it, why are we storing and why are we hoarding? Why are we doing all of this unnecessary stuff? This is called greed. And we're scared to let it go. We're scared to let it go. The best thing in spiritual life is to live with what we need. Don't worry, that person will say, oh, you wore the same dress last time, I recognize. So what? It's okay. It's not that every time we have to wear different things, right? You wore the same t-shirt, it's clothes, you're supposed to re-wear it. Now what will you do with it, right? So this kind of thing just makes our mind very extroverted. And all we're thinking about is material things. So this is what happens with greed. So if we have a lot, give. Let other people also benefit. Don't say that, oh, I worked hard, so they should also work hard. We are here to help each other. We're not here to criticize who's working, who's not working. We're here to help each other. If somebody has needs, give. Right? Now we come to pride, Ahankara. This is where we'll start from today. So what is this pride? This pride is, now here I'm not talking about national pride or pride of a country, not that kind of thing. Here I'm talking about individualistic pride. What is pride? Pride is the feeling that I am better than you. We feel that we are better than other people. This is the thought of pride. And why this happens is because we have gotten certain things. So like we have acquired maybe wealth, a good social status, a good position. We've acquired some, nice following, some nice resources. We've acquired all of these things, nice friends. And so in these things, we feel proud. We feel like these things define us. And what are the consequences of pride? First thing is when we become proud, there's a tendency to look down upon other people. That we raise ourselves to such a pedestal and we look down upon other people. The next thing about pride is because we think so much of ourselves, we fail to learn from others. Others may have better ideas. They may do things better than us. They may know more than us. Their knowledge may be vaster, greater. But because we are so proud, we feel like, I know it all. I don't need to know anymore. We will never learn. So this gives us a loss of learning, loss of understanding from other people. Pride also makes us forget about other people's contributions. So now just we think of Ayodhya. Now how many people have contributed to that? It's not just because of one person. Please no, it didn't happen because of one person or two people. It happened because of over 300,000 people. That's why it happened. When we become proud, we forget all of the people who helped us to get where we are. We didn't come here on our own. It was starting from, sometimes we feel, we can run marathons, we can exercise, we can play football, basketball. Who taught us how to walk? Did you think? We were at a point in time where we could not even walk. I'm making so much money and this, I have investments here and there. Who taught us how to count? Who taught us how to understand what money really was? Who is helping us in our work? Who is supporting us? Who is supporting us while we're at work? Don't we forget? I built this house, I bought this house, it's a great house, it's my house, it's our house. Really? But who helped you to get to that state? So when we become proud, we forget all of the people who are part of what we are doing. I think it was Newton once who said, you think I'm great, but it's because I'm standing on the shoulder of giants. What a beautiful thing. It's not that I'm great. I'm standing on the shoulder of such giants who've done so much, and that is why I'm able to give. Not that I'm able to do it on my own. So when we become proud, all of these things happen, and we also lose sight of the blessings of the divine. We lose sight of the grace of God. Our Guruji, Swami Tejamayanandaji, said something so beautifully. He said, you have this watch, watch, you're proud of a watch. Sometimes you have iPhone, iWatch, all of these things. We are so proud and we show off. Did you ever think who gave you the hand to wear the watch? Did we ever think? Right? So we forget also that everything is because of the grace of the divine. It is because of that divine grace that things are happening for us. It is not merely our own effort. Now a question comes in terms of pride because people feel like, aren't we supposed to also have self-respect? So aren't we supposed to have our own dignity, our own self-respect? Yeah, that is true, but that is not pride. See, there's a difference. In pride, we keep comparing ourselves to others, and we keep feeling that other people are lower than us. Huh? And actually, this pride comes out of insecurity. The most insecure people are the ones who will brag a lot, isn't it? If people, are fine with themselves, they don't need to brag. But the people who are really insecure, they'll talk about themselves so much, you get a headache. Hmm? So in this is pride is we look down upon other people, but when it comes to self-respect, we're not judging about what other people are doing, where are they going. We're thinking about our path. Right now, I could be better than my previous self. And I am working to improve myself. And I am working to lift myself up. This is the self-respect I have. And this is warranted. We should all have this self-respect. Pride is the feeling of superiority. Self-respect or dignity is the feeling of gratitude. That I have come to this position, to this place because of all the people who have helped me. Pride is always comparing. Self-respect is understanding that, listen, I am okay. I am not going to be good in everything. In many fields, people will be better than me. And that's absolutely okay. But this is my field. Whatever it is that your field, this is my field, and this is what I'm able to give. And in this way, I will work and I will offer this to a greater purpose. And this is the self-respect that I have for myself. And I respect my body, my mind, my intellect, and I will use it to the best of my abilities. So when we look at it this way, we can all have self-respect without being proud, without thinking that we're better than other people. Because it's not about that. It's about comparing ourselves to our previous self. And we know when we have pride, we lose out on a lot of things. We justify pride because we feel like, at work we need to show off a little bit. Right? Everybody feels in their company, they need to write this on the resume, I achieved this, I achieved that. When we need to write, when we need to say something, it's okay. But in our hearts, we should know that this is not just me. This is through the grace, this is through everybody's coming together. This is really the spirit of everyone who has touched my life. We can write because we have to write in our resume, but the inner spirit should be completely different. And this is how we should teach the children also to have confidence, right? Don't make them think I'm better than this person, better than that person. No, I'm better than what I was before. And that's a great achievement. So how to get rid of pride? Whenever pride crops up, just stop for a moment and count 10. Count 10 meaning count 10 people or 10 things that have contributed to this particular achievement. Count. And you will see it exceeds 10. So if a thing of pride, I did it. Stop. Count 10. Then what we will feel is not pride, we will feel gratitude. And that's a profound feeling. That's a better feeling than pride. There is one story. Should I tell you the story of Yamaraj? There is this, Yamarajas are god of death. There was this great sculptor, a really, really wonderful sculptor. And he would sculpt all, different kinds of images. So he got the news that Yamaraj is coming to take him to Yamaloka, to die, basically. So he said, now what do I do? He said, I know I will sculpt all images that look like me. All images, I'm a professional. I'll sculpt to look all like me, maybe 21 of them. So when Yamaraj comes, he won't know who I am. And how will he take me? So he did that. He spent all his time sculpting 21 20, and then he was the one identical to him, identical in clothes, in look, everything, and in posture. Now Yamaraj was coming. So he stood with all of the sculptors. And Yamaraj looked. He said, wow, I don't know who is the real one. It was like a wax museum we have, right? He said, I don't know who is the real one because everybody looked so real. And Yamaraj had an idea. He said, these sculptures are so beautiful. I wonder who made them. And this person said, I did. And Yamaraj said, caught you. Huh? And he died. This is the nature of pride. We can't keep quiet. Huh? We can't keep quiet. If somebody asks, who made that? I did it. For young kids and all, it's okay. But in our hearts, that acknowledgement that we are just a part of a greater picture, that should be there. So that is how to work with pride. Pride is clear? Any questions about pride so far? Okay, we're going to enter into selfishness now. Svartha. Verse 11, Svartha. Yeah.
I do have a question. As I think about this, how do we reconcile today's society, which can be really individualistic and that in the real world, in an ideal sort of setting, we are, we're all achieving to our for betterment of oneself from yesterday to today to tomorrow. And in a cutthroat world where we all still need to put food on the table for our families, how do we reconcile that individualistic sort of, is it presenting one's accomplishments, of course, in gratitude, or yes, okay.
Yeah.
So I think that's where, because in order to, for example, in our stumbling, because this is a difficult sort of concept to bring into one's day-to-day life, where accomplishments or where we have to kind of raise our hands sometimes to have recognition for one's contributions, etc., to demonstrate within corporations our worth, right? To be able to maintain our jobs and be able to put food on the table for our families.
Yeah.
So just reconciling that with this very inward act of gratitude and recognition. And so if you could, and I'm already thinking how this can happen, but also to bring the two together.
Sure. See, sure, in our career, in the places of work and everything, we have to sometimes voice out that I was responsible, But we can do it in such a way that, yes, I did this, but, this was extremely helpful to have this person's help or that person's help or that person's help. To have everybody come together, that was really amazing. And all of us at the end of the day did it together. So if I need to voice out, I can say, yes, I did, but I found that this really helped. This person was really helpful, and this person was really good, and this person was really good. And if I really think about it, all of us coming together were able to accomplish this, and I wouldn't have been able to do without them. Now, this is a better way to present oneself. And we might think that, people might take us for granted. In the long run, people will have more respect for you. They'll have more respect for you because they'll see this is a person who understands how to acknowledge other people and see the goodness in them. And not many people know how to do that, sadly. We're all in there for ourselves.
Sometimes it feels that way, but
Yeah.
we don't want to be left behind, but we have to acknowledge who's helping us along.
We always should acknowledge us. We should acknowledge. Everybody who's helped us, we should always acknowledge. Yeah.
I'm going to just respond to that. I think there's maybe the differences between humility and self-deprecation. I mean, you can still rely on your experience and your skill set that you've built over time if it's in a professional setting, while still understanding that there is scope for flexibility, right? I mean, there's that push and pull as well. It doesn't mean that being humble, which I'm assuming is the opposite of pride,
Right.
is not necessarily to negate the things that you have done,
Yeah.
so far.
This humility is understanding. It's not negating what I've done. It's understanding that I'm a small part of this. There's a huge cycle or a circle of people actually who are working together to make this happen. It's not just me. Huh? So that kind of attitude. Huh? Any other thoughts about pride? Yeah.
How do you think about the concept of pride in the context of a family setting, especially like, dealing with preteens or teens, they have their concept of self that is still evolving, and sometimes there is a power struggle that results as, as they're trying to exert their self. And I think, or like a parent might think that, well, I have the wisdom of having lived life.
Yeah.
So I know better than you, I think is the perspective, right?
Yeah.
But then
Not
I
just
guess
for preteens, for little ones too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious your thoughts on that.
Yeah, so as adults, we always feel like I know better than you, right? That there is that thing, I know better than you. Actually, the attitude is just be open, be completely open. Because there are things that they know better than us, right? A lot of this technology stuff, my gosh, like a 5-year-old can cast a thing on the big screen. I wouldn't even know how to do that. It'll take me like 5 minutes. I'll have to YouTube and figure out. But they can do it in 2 minutes, you know? So there are a lot of things actually that they know more than us. So with the children, whatever age they be, keep an open mind. And say, okay, why do you think that way? Okay, now let's look at it. Let's look at it together, and then you can both discuss and have a conversation about it. But if we come with this attitude, then we lose out. The minute we come with that attitude, we lose out. Yeah.
I have a follow-up to that. So many times I think, yes, you're right, that kind of scenario happens with kids, preteens. And many times, like at least for personally, I think it's not because I know better than you, but maybe it's sometimes because, okay, I have seen this, I have experienced the pain that it causes, and I want you to save from that pain. So how to deal with that?
See, now sometimes they're not ready to be saved from that pain also. So you have to let them go through it, So the other side is, I have seen this. This is what I'm telling you. But you should do whatever tatastu. You do what you want to do. And sometimes they need to go through all of that, and we have to watch all of that also. But that's the way they learn. The kind of learning that they go through when they make their own mistakes is very powerful. Let me tell you, it's very powerful, and it's really like in there, So it's okay. Yeah, let them do. As long as it's not dangerous, as long as it's like getting a C on a test or what, it's okay. Once in a while, if they get a C, it's okay. We shouldn't be so like, they always get an A, always get an A, always get an A. Your kids are going to be terrible then. They should see some C's, some C minus. They should see some of these things in their lives.
This does not sit well with this crowd.
That's why I'm telling you. That's why I'm telling you. They should see some of these things also. They should. It means not on purpose. If they fail to study and all of that, they should see some of these, so they feel like, oh, I did this. Now I know I have to do better next time. They need that own realization from themselves, not the parents nagging them. Did you study? Did you study? Did you do your homework? They don't need that all the time. Okay, yeah.
So, somewhat related but a different angle to this. There are times when you you've created skills, over the years. But there are people who refuse to recognize it, who still treat you in a way that, you're just starting out.
Yeah.
And I get the idea of being open, because of course there's always something to learn from the other person no matter what.
Yeah.
But something still bothers you inside when that happens.
Yeah.
When you're being judged in that way. Is that self-respect or is that pride?
That's pride. Because remember, self-respect, you're not bothered about how other people judge you. Remember, life is between you and God. It's not between you and everybody else. So we get hurt in pride because we are basing ourselves on how other people look at us. So based on how other people look at us, that's how we value ourselves. This is the problem with pride. But with self-respect, we know our own worth. And so we look at ourselves based on what we have done and what we have become. And therefore, it doesn't matter what they think about us. So that self-respect must always be there. That I have come this far, and I have done this, and this is who I am. And at the end of the day, life is between you and God. Just always know that, because people will come and go. But can you, at the end of the day, can you sleep peacefully with a clean conscience? If you can, then that's self-respect. Okay. All right. One last question about pride, if there are any. Otherwise, we will close. Okay. So we will do selfishness next week. But this week, I want you to focus on gratitude. So as I mentioned, every time, any time actually, this feeling of pride comes. Count 10. Count 10. Count how many people have actually helped us in this path, and that pride will come down. Right? Spend a few moments in silence, and then we'll close. Just sit straight. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath in and deep breath out. Deep breath in and deep breath out. Deep breath in and deep breath out. Just let everything go. Spend a moment in gratitude to all those who have brought us here in this place, in this space, in this time, in this day, in this age, to all who have contributed to our lives. Just spend that moment in gratitude. Oh.